The following takes place between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Now, I want to ask you, back to the origins of how you started this. I mean, when you first got all these DNA values, how did you get them? I mean, were you taking definitively known of each breed and you swabbed them and so you knew what DNA they had? Or is this, how did they figure this out in the first place?
Well, the way that the way that we came in a little late in the game, so we actually got the DNA. It's a lot. You have to get a lot of samples from a lot of known purebred dogs before you can begin to test for a specific breed. It's a lot. So we actually work with a company in the U.S. So we bought their DNA to do the test, but the company we got it from is actually a lab that does veterinary testing, and they work with the American Kennel Club, so they started getting the DNA from the American Kennel Club to get the purebreds, and they were able to isolate the markers. And it all happened, like DNA, the explosion in DNA testing for human dogs and all other animals. They used to do a lot of equine horse testing, like for horses and things like that. So it all came really, really quickly and became, once you figure out how to measure it, it's no different if it's a cow, a horse, or a person. The markers are the markers.
Cool.
Wow. Yeah,
that's great. Especially if you're in the racing industry, I'm sure you guys do a lot of it there. I mean, are you involved with racing horses?
Well, it's funny that you say that. I'm not, but the owner of the lab is a big involved. But when you're in horse racing, the jockey club actually does like blood testing and paternity testing. It holds all of that. Like you have to have those tests to have a registered thoroughbred. So that's been there for a long time.
And the great thing about DNAmydog.com is that it's very affordable. This is not something that's a lot of money. People are going to, I have to do my DNA. It's going to cost me hundreds and thousands. No, this is really cheap. It's $59.99.
It's $59.99, and that's the one thing that people all the time, the first thing they say is they can't believe they thought it would be at closer to $200. They can't believe that it's so inexpensive.
Well, it's great because you've obviously made it affordable enough where there's so many mixed breed dogs out there. There are a ton of people that come to my clinic, and when I tell them about the test, they say, "Oh my God, that's so easy to do. That's great." They want to know. I mean, they've had this dog for years and years, and it really doesn't matter to them what the dog is, but I know they're curious.
It's just 100% curiosity, and it's the funniest thing because people come to us all the time, and they're like, I had my dog for 10 years, and I'm going to love it no matter. Obviously, they're going to love it no matter what. But I'm just curious, and then the minute they do the swabs, they phone us every day. Do you have the results? Do you have the results? Do you have the results? I need the results. I need the results. And we're like, okay.
Like, the DNA ain't going anywhere.
But it's like all of a sudden, when they know that they can find out, the curiosity just kills them.
Wow.
Well, so Kathleen was blown away. I mean, all of us were. Yeah. Really, it was really cool.
Everybody gets a really in-depth, like, oh my goodness, look at all these mixes, and I get 2 words: Labrador Retriever. I'm like, that's it? That's it?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about some of the other things you do, because I want our listeners to know that you guys also take the breeds and you tell them what they're prone to. Different breeds, right?
we haven't sent you your physical certificates or your results yet.
Right.
But when we do your test for you, we get a photo, and you can send us the photo after you get the results, because there's a lot of people who think we look at the photo and say, "Oh, lab and Rottweiler," but we don't. And I tell people, if you have a problem with that, just send it after, because we email you the results, and then just send us the photo, and we give you a beautiful. We're going to mail you yours, of course. Gold stamp from the lab, photo with all the breeds and everything. It's really, really nice. And then you get a printout, and it lists by level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever how breeds came up, the personality traits of that breed of dog and the health concerns for that breed of dog. And the health concerns are really well researched, and they're really good to have, especially in the case of your friend, for instance, who didn't know some of the breeds in her dog, so maybe there's some things that she should look out for.
Right.
And we've also had a lot of people who have got really young dogs, like someone just told us the other day, they didn't realize because their dog was a puppy that it had boxer in it, and the trainer said that was really important and that they'd be able to work a lot better with the dog knowing it was boxer. So we do give you all that information.
That's great.
I wonder if some insurance companies are going to start turning around and saying, it's kind of mandatory to have your dog DNA tested so we can, preclude some of these, hey, your dog is prone to have this because, the DNA says, certain dogs are prone to certain things, right? So I wouldn't be surprised in the coming years if insurance companies start knocking on your door and saying, Yeah, what's up?
Well, I'm going to tell you an interesting thing. There are a lot of insurance companies that won't insure pit bulls. And what ends up happening, we have a lot of pit bull crosses that come in, and people will call them mixed breed dogs when they apply for insurance. They won't say pit bull cross. They'll say German Shepherd cross, even though it's 97% pit bull and 3% Shepherd.
And did you have an issue, Mindy, during the pit bull ban and what was going on?
Well, I do. I have an issue with it, of course, because I'm like, what? I don't believe in banning the breed. It's the people. But right. and that's just, I feel a little bit strongly like that, and I actually am very friendly with the people who run Bullies in Need, which I don't know if they're a fabulous organization, and Patty, who I know from there, is that she's just amazing, and she assesses a lot of pit bulls in the system, and she's got this fabulous attitude that the only way to change the law is to work within it, and that's what they do, and it's great. But we don't test for pit bull, and I'll tell you why. There's no such thing as a pit bull.
That's
technically.
Right.
It's man-made DNA. It's a man-made breed, so you can't have that DNA because it doesn't exist, but it's going to come back like American Staffordshire, Boxer, Bulldog.
Yeah.
Boston.
Combination of all the above.
We sat down with Premier McGinty last year. It was almost a year ago. We sat down in the office, and he said, when we asked him about the pit bull ban, he said pretty much that these dogs were bred and created to have certain genetic markers that would, work with a lot of, for instance, like guard dogs and stuff like that, to have these capabilities in their DNA, right? And that's why they targeted pit bulls in general. So it was, and I'm thinking back to that conversation we have with the Premier, and some of the stuff that you're saying right now, how you really can't identify because it's really man-made. It does make sense, It's.
Oh, I know, and I work with a dog trainer with a rescue organization who's quite well known in Ontario, and she told me that the highest incidence of dog bites in Ontario are golden retrievers, and you're not going to see on the front page of the paper like golden retriever bites 3-year-old. Or you're going to see pit bull or German Shepherd, maybe, right?
Or Chihuahua, for that matter, right? You're never going to see a Chihuahua, even though they bite more.
No, and they're like the big biters, right?
But
exactly. But you're not going to see that, and we know that they bite, but it's just it's very it's just profiling a breed of dog because. No. I really don't agree with it, but I don't know what more to say.
Yeah. Now, Mindy, we just got an email at info@animalhouseradio.com from one of our listeners asking, when will you be doing this DNA testing on cats?
We get a lot of people asking us that, and I don't think that we will. And first of all, I don't know that the market would be there for it.
I would disagree with that.
You think you would?
I think so. Yeah.
I guess I don't know enough.
Because I see a lot of domestic short hair crossed with, let's say Siamese, and people want to know how much. I guess maybe it would be good if we knew percentages. Do you think they'll ever get a point where you'll be able to say percentages of that DNA? And when you say level 3,
you couldn't do it like the way that the test is run, the way that your DNA is extracted and run through. It has to be within these very specific ranges because the more narrow we make it, the test could take a really, really long time to get it to the specific. I mean, we could probably do it, but it would take a really, really long time, and it would be really expensive.
I mean, It's not really easy to get a swab in a cat's mouth.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It'll bite you. It's like, okay, my blood's mixed in with the
Well, and going on that note, most cats, 90% of cats that I see are mixed breed cats. I mean, they're just mixes of... domestic short hair with domestic medium hair with domestic long hair. It's still a domestic blank hair cat. They've become so mutt-like that you can't really put them in as any specific breed.
Yeah, it looks like a tabby. It must be a tabby.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
I love the service. DNAmydog.com. If you want to know what the mixes of your animal is, just go to DNAmydog.com and fill out the form, and you'll get all the information. I mean, I love your service. We're going to get more. And can you seriously? I want you to DNA my heritage. Can we work something out?
We can absolutely do
nice.
Your ancestral origin.
And then we'll have you on the show again, and we'll do the results live on air.
Okay.
And then we'll hear, hey, what's up? It's Bruno.
Perfect. Or maybe there'll be another one by then.
Yeah, you got it.
It could be. I could be from Austria.
There you go.
From Austria or from where Borat was from?
From Kazakhstan. It's awesome. We only have 2 minutes left on the show. We loved you so much. We skipped a whole commercial break for you.
Oh, thank you.
We just lost $3,000. Our sponsors are going to kill us.
I don't know what to say.